Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
All right, welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight it's CA's East Coast Web Printers Gen 6 series here, and we are at Talladega tonight for another great night of super speedway racing action here in the year 2025. I'm Dean Doucette, joined as always by Mr. Baron Labosco and special guest host Wesley Outland in the booth. Baron, a little dig
to see Talladega. It's one of my personal favorites, and this track is big, it's wide, it's gnarly, and these guys are going to be 3 wide before they hit turn 2. All night long, you're going to see comers and goers throughout the field. You're going to see a lot of teamwork here, Dean and Wesley. Man, these are always amazing shows with this group at RGR.
Well, thanks again, guys, for having me back here with the RGR iRacing League here. Of course, this is a fun track. You always got to love Talladega Super Speedway. 2.66 miles in length. It's the longest track in NASCAR. 33 degrees of bank of that long 4,000-foot Alabama Gang Super Stretch. Dean, again, this is just one of these races where it's the unknown for this league. You better look out for the big one. It's not a matter of if, but when, and you want to make sure that you avoided it. Of course, Super Speedway racing, a different animal in real life, and of course, thanks to iRacing, it is so similar to the real deal as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of things on the line here tonight as we look in on the championship standings. I mean, Jeff Ward no longer here, so his lead's going to diminish. Jason Jackson will take over that lead. I mean, if he survives here tonight. So a track like this, Baron, I mean, like Wesley was saying, anybody's game out here, but the big thing you can't do is wreck out of this thing and lose your championship standing.
You can't win a championship at Dega, but you can lose it, and there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to plate racing, Dean. Close quarters racing with everybody, inches from each other, 200 miles an hour, Dean, and one false move, one lack of focus moment, and the whole field is wadded up. Wesley, it's that unknown that keeps people coming back to Talladega year in and year out.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, it's one of the fun things that you love about being at this place. I've announced here many, many times in my broad ARCA and NASCAR as well, and it's just one of those places where literally, it's the unknown, like you just said, Baron. It's the unknown of seeing what'll happen. It's the unknown, and it's also, I think, Dean, about trust. You got to trust your partner. Or you got to trust your frenemy, if you will, because you're going to be stacked up like sardines, door to door, 2, 3, 4 wide. I always use that cliche: 2's party, 3's chaos, 4's mayhem, if you will, at Talladega. And honestly, and you've got calamity, you've got trouble, right, and of course that can what happened here.
And you brought up that word trust. I have trust issues, so that's maybe why I haven't had success here. But right now, there's one person I do trust. That's Alicia Shipman. Let's get everybody to just rise up for the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sadder yet wave o'er the lands of the free.
Jason Brantley in row 2. It's Bernard Person and Bryce Reiner in row number 3. Hellman Hunt in 4. Ripka Newton in row number 5. We keep going through the field here. You see Bruce and Whitford, Travis, Leal, Taylor, Gilly, Kulikowski, Abear, Sheffield, Barize, Jackson, Williams, Lester, and rounding out a 28-car field is Williams, Rincon, Blau, Musial, and Dibble. A solid 28-car field.
That it is, Dean, and we got some teammates in here. Grease Mucky Racing's got some cars in here. GDR's got a few cars in here. The Screaming Eagles, only 2 of their 4 team members showing up tonight. Going to be a lot of co-opetition.
There certainly is, and we notice some great paints. We'll get into them in just a bit, but right now the green flag about to roll here. TJ Rogers leads them through the zone. We're racing here at Talladega. Good, clean start here. Everybody going to be very patient here tonight, Wesley. I mean, we had a race here on Sunday night in the Xfinity car. A lot of hard racing and maybe some feelings a little hurt out here that can happen at Dega.
Yeah, Talladega in the Cup car are different than Xfinity. It's going to be Edward Kane on the whole shot. He'll lead them down to the back stretch with the cavalry in tow. Brantley behind him. Reiner, Rogers, Hunt behind them now, Baron. They're still 2 by 2 behind the leader, Kane, by himself as they work to complete lap 1.
Early part of the race here, Wesley. Dean, I like what I'm seeing out of the back of the field. We got guys that are going to be in front. They're going to stay out in front of the mayhem. And then there's some guys that are drifting to the back, work with their teammates, stay out of trouble today, and be there at the end. What do you think about some of those guys hanging out in the back, Dean?
Well, I mean, that's where I hang out, but it's not because I think it's a great strategy. It's because I'm too old and too tired to race all these laps. So I might be back there too, but I like these guys going up here to the front. You see Hunt up here with Reiner. I love what they're doing, right? Get out here and lead, man.
Yeah, and Reiner and Hunt holding on to that spot down to the inside of the racetrack. Edward Kane right there in that yellow and black number 21. He's got Brantley behind him in tow. At least they were side by side behind the leader a moment ago. Now the top 5, Baron working single file, and the top 4 throw a blanket over them a little bit as they work to the tri-oval off 4.
Yeah, they sure do. And look, I keep an eye on Rachel Hunt because Rachel, once upon a time, was part of the Elliott Sadler stable. She is an absolute expert at these place tracks. Keep an eye on that one machine. She won't be hard to find. She's the only pink car out there. But that car right there is going to be one to follow if you want to see the checkered flag tonight.
Yeah, and I think these guys and girls got to go for it tonight. I mean, if you haven't won, this is the place to get your first win. How many times, Wesley? I mean, you've called races all over the nation. How many first-time winners have you seen come at these super speedways?
One of the popular ones that I think of was about 4 or 5 years ago when Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the pride out of Olive Branch, Mississippi, went on to win here at Talladega. Then he went on to win the Daytona 500 a couple of years ago as well, the Great American Race. But we think of these iRacing guys, and you think of them building their legacy, their name here, of course, in the East Coast Web Printing Gen 6 Series. And right now, it's Bryce Reiner leading them on the inside. Kane up top. Get some help there going, Baron. That's Adam Newton. I call him the Bulldog of Nazareth. He's on the outside lane playing wingman off the back straightaway going to 3.
Always a threat in that 2 machine. This is a former champion. He knows how to stay out front of these plate races. And Dean, I love the close quarters racing we're seeing. These guys are not 2 by 2 all the way through the field, Dean. This is just great stuff right here.
Yeah, it really is. And we were trying to get a shot of that 2 machine you see on the outside there. We heard the word Bulldog. Well, on the hood there tonight, he has a picture of the Bulldog, an old paint car, paint job on an old car that we used to race. So the Bulldog in full fashion here tonight.
Big block by the 21 machine, wanting the lead up there through that car right out in front of Rachel Hunt. Bring that 21 to the front there, Wesley.
Yeah, definitely got to watch and see what he'll do with that machine as they work their way again. Look at them all stacked up. Remember, we talked about this on our opening intro here for the broadcast on Wind Tunnel TV. And look at them now, getting 3 wide, top 3 rows right there, starting to get settled in by 3 by 3. But it's still going to be that 21 leading the pack there, Dean, as they work off turn 4.
Yes, sir. Up high, you see those spear guys starting to get hooked up. You got Bernard Person in that Budweiser Chevrolet. He's got Brian Helm behind him. I'm not sure who's right behind that, but someone has gone up there and joined him. I think that's Derek Whitford up there, but they get back in line and hang him out to dry now.
Absolutely rude and uncalled for treatment of that 05 machine. They had him up there, they wanted him to come up with him, and then they left him out to dry, Dean.
Did they ever? I mean, that's the thing with Talladega. You got to have some friends. Calls are being made. Who's going to work with who here this evening? Do you have teammates? Do you have friends? I mean, Wesley, I told you, I got trust issues, man. I don't know how many friends I actually have. I don't trust them.
Yeah, trust issues indeed better go out the window, buddy, if you're in this type of a situation, because you got to try to find a way to at least trust some of your adversaries beside you. Now, I'm all for in the early going, but when it gets down to 5 to go, Baron, it's every man for themselves, and that'll be what we decide here. Is now the 1 is going to power to the lead as they work into 2.
And you're absolutely right, Wesley. When we get to 5 to go, you can take the brakes, throw them right up on the dashboard of the car. Ain't nobody touching nothing to stop this thing. Honest to God, when they get going, that is going to be it. You're going to see nose to tail, bumper leaning on each other, and that's when the chaos normally ensues, does it not?
Baron, let me ask you this, Baron. These cars, I don't know how much memory you have of the Gen 6, but I watched a little practice. At times, they look really hooked up with the pushing. They look straight as an arrow. Other times, it looks like they're bouncing around, and it seems more like they move around on the straightaway. What does this car have to offer here at Dega?
Dean, these cars have a really unique platform, and the buffering that you talked about on the straightaways, and that's wind disruption, right? So these cars are actually more glued and more stable in the turns, which is unusual for many other platforms out there, because in the turns, these cars kind of feel a little bit loose. Not in these Gen 6 cars. You can actually push through the corners on these cars. You got to be careful, though. It's always got to be center to outside right. You cannot go to the inside or you're going to turn your friend.
Rachel Hunt out front, getting a push from Kane. We've seen Bryce Reiner third on the inside there. He's been pushing a lot early on, but now he's 3 deep in here. That's where it gets dangerous, Wesley.
Kind of waiting patiently for that move to work down to the inside of the racetrack. Everybody's still continuing to hold their line for the moment. Here they come back across the line. It's still going to be side by side as they climb that naked again here and hit it to 1 and 2. And look out behind you. Here comes the Budweiser colors. Machine going after Newton on the high side and 2.
Screaming Needle Racing out there. Yeah, that's the Bulldog and Bernie. And Bernie's giving him a push. Let's get these cars to the front in a hurry, Dean.
Well, I was going to say, Baron, we're very familiar with Bernard Person there on the outside. He's known as one of the best pushers in the business on the super speedways. It may be too early for him to sustain that push, though, and you see that lane already breaking down.
Yeah, you see the 46 kind of bail out on that run, and he chose to get back to the inside line. That's going to slow that outside line a little bit, Dean. Do they stay together, or do they start finding other partners to dance with?
I got a feeling we're already seeing the implications of the race we had on Sunday. You guys are backing down just a little bit. They're already thinking on lap 10. They're thinking about green flag racing and pit stops. I mean, fuel mileage-wise, Wesley, we're looking at somewhere around 37 laps of the tank. We got a 90-lap run. There's no fuel saving, but these guys will be really trying to get hooked up, get that green flag stop in.
And another thing that we have to consider, this race is 90 laps, right? You kind of hit it on it a moment ago. That's the equivalent of 225 miles. That's not even half the distance of what they normally run here at the Talladega Super Speedway. Normally they run 500 miles or 499 miles, 188 laps. So really, Baron, I know lap 90, it's a long way away, but honestly, it really isn't. This race will fly by quickly if they can continue to be in the pace that they're setting right now.
You would think at a track there, Wesley, where we are flat out going as fast as we can, that fuel miles would be the last thing on their minds. But Dean touched on it. Woo, we got a little wiggle there. Oh, a push gone bad on the 72. They got it. Good job. Everybody's stacked up in the back, though.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen a car pull out a little further back there, trying to avoid those checkups. Man, oh man, that was dangerous there. And you can just see, if you get pushing, get a little wobble, the chain reaction is intense.
Quick hands and quick decision making is needed here. But going back to the pit stop thing, these guys have an eye on their pit stop strategies. Believe it or not, Rachel Hunt out front leading laps right now is actually burning more fuel than the rest of her competitors. So that could be a role in who she pits with later on in this event.
Well, not only that, I mean, you look at fuel mileage. This is not a fuel mileage race at this point. Well, a big bump from Kane to our leader Hunt there. They're not holding back, even though they're out front. But what is key, I'll tell you, if they did manage to go green, that second stop, who can get the least amount of fuel in the tank to finish? If you can get it under that 8-gallon mark, that is a significantly quicker stop than it would be if you fill that thing with whatever it is, 18 gallons of gasoline.
I think the thing is also, gentlemen, as we watch them work their way back down on the front stretch heading into 1 and 2 up the banking, is the fact of, we mentioned, this might not be a very long, lengthy race, but they're still going to have to make pit stops. Now, there might be 1 or 2 pit stops on the horizon, depending on what happens with the race scenario itself, Dean and Baron. But with that being said, Miss Rachel Hunt still leads going to 3. That pit stop, it could possibly, Baron, happen during green flag conditions. And if they are green flag pit stops, you have got to hit your marks and not make any mistakes. It could cost you the race.
So easy to get in a little hot, get in a little slow. You lose your dancing partner. Once you do that, there's a gap created. You could be out on your own without the draft, and the next thing you know, you're going to lock down. Yes, to your point, Wesley, super critical that your pit stops have been practiced and then perfected.
Communication, always key here at Talladega. How do you work with the people you're pitting with, and who surprises you and joins in when you plan to go in? Sometimes, Wesley, you got a 4-car team. You plan to get on pit road together, and right in front of you, 7 other cars pit. I mean, it's a free-for-all at that point.
No, you're exactly right. It's the old cliche. What do they call it? Monkey see, monkey do. If you do it, I'm going to do it. Anything you can do, I can do better. Well, unless you're teammates, and then you want to flawlessly come down to the pit lane and make that pit stop at the same time. Right now, your top 10 is Rachel Hunt. He leads the way, the driver of the number 1 Toyota, coming across the line to put lap 14 on the board. Edward Kane second, Bryce Reiner, Jason Brandt, top 5. Baron, is there in 2?
Claus Williams comes into the 6th place. A lot of shuffling going on. Adam Kolakowski is in the 7 machine up there in the top 10. Don't forget about Bernard Person and Jason Jackson, Adam Newton, our points leader, in the mix right now. Dean, how far are we from pit stops on this event right now?
Well, if it's one thing we learned about RGR racing is these guys can do math, but they can't do complicated math. So 30 at lap 30, expect people to come in. And if I had to guess, I would probably say lap 31 because they're not really fond of the short pit. So it's going to be a 30 and then lap 60. That's when we're going to see our mayhem. That's what guys are going to get geared up to. I mean, barring a wreck here, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be so critical. If anybody decides to come in, let's say on lap 20, that team, that group of people, as we got to move for the race lead, Kane goes to the outside. I mean, if they come in a little bit earlier and jump them, they could get away from the pack.
Thought about making a move right there as we watch Edward Kane up on the high side. Got hung out to dry, but Derek meanwhile, inside of the racetrack, Hunt, Reiner, Brantley, they stay locked to the double yellow line, Baron, as they work off 4.
Great push in here. Reiner choosing to stay with Rachel Hunt. And when Edward made his move, it looks like the 14 machine said, I'm staying with that 1 machine. She's got something going on tonight.
Yes, she really does. Rachel Hunt, your race leader, been at the front or near the front the whole night, as has Reiner. These two working well together. Will they stick together? A little shuffling a little further back around Kulakowski, Jackson in that area. They're starting to get a little bit racy here.
Down into that third turn, it's still Hunt in the top spot. Look at this driver now. We're watching the two. There is again the Bulldog. Adam Newton inside, help behind him with Bernard Person. Couple of Screaming Eagle Motorsports drivers right there. Keep an eye on him as he moves inside, moves outside. Help behind him with Whitford. Also, what is that? Kulkowski, Jason Jackson, all in this mix as they work again with the leader Hunt. Clearly in the lead as they work into one, Baron.
Great racing side by side. I love the online look we have here. Kolakowski making a big run to help out Bernard Person here in that 8 machine. Watch how these cars dance down the back straightaway. Watch his hands as he stays in line with the 8 machine, trying to make sure he doesn't get his driver in front any trouble, and the driver behind him's got a clean bumper to hit if he's got to run.
You look on the high side, someone falling back against the wall there. That's the 38 of Musial. Musial currently going a lap down. He makes it through that safe. Can he attach himself here? He can't afford to lose the pack a second time.
And stay in line with the Pac-Man machine. All that Buffalo Wild Wings machine really in trouble up on the outside, losing the draft. And, you know, we talk about Talladega, Daytona, even Atlanta for that matter, Baron. It's a drafting track. You get shuffled out of line, you can be in the penthouse 1 minute and the outhouse the next. That's what happened to the B-Dub machine on the back straightaway.
Yeah, and he's not completely done for the night. It's easy to get your lap back at Talladega. The problem is you got to stay in touch with the field. So what we saw him do is move to the high side. He's a gentleman. He wants to let the field go on and continue to race, but he is desperately trying to stay in touch with it so that if that yellow flag shows up, he's going to be the first one to the lucky dog.
So we had Musial, we're saying, trying to stay in touch. He is a lap down. You got Michael Taylor. He's 24 seconds off the pack and hemorrhaging time quickly, so he's in a lot of trouble. There's the Toad Man. On the high side, you got the 10 of Ricky Williams riding the camel machine.
You don't see many cigarette ads anymore, and you certainly don't see them in NASCAR. That is a great throwback scheme.
I think of my buddy, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer, when I see the camel colors, right? And obviously, Hut Strickland drove the camel car there for a while as well. But, yeah, that's really cool watching the Smoking Joe, if you will, work around the racetrack. And Rachel Hunt still in the lead as they work off of 4.
Now, a lot of these guys have a lot of nostalgia about racing, and every once in a while, somebody will pop up with an old paint scheme and causes us to harken back to the days of great NASCAR racing with names like Earnhardt and Lake Speed, Peterson, and all the Petties. It's a great group we run with here.
Well, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Stump the Swami, but we're thinking about bringing it back with a couple of broadcast mates in Jared Carr and the Bulldog himself, Adam Newton. Their knowledge of old paint schemes is second to none. I think we're going to make this thing happen.
I love it, Dean. The throwback schemes really bring back the days of old racing. And everybody wants to have an argument. Wesley, everybody's got an argument. The days of old were better than the days of today. The drivers of old are better than the drivers of today. I don't have an opinion. I just love the racing.
I'm of the same, right? I mean, I'm an 80s guy. I was born in the 80s. I saw the great racing as a kid in the 90s. It's different. I'm not going to say it. There's some things that are the new NASCAR that I love. There's other things that I'm like, oh my God, let's go back to what we used to do. But with that being said, I can say the same thing how I feel about the college football playoff. You're on cloud nine right now, Baron, because, Notre Dame's going to the semifinals. They're going to Miami to play Penn State. And my team, Alabama, got slaughtered by Michigan and didn't even qualify for the college football playoff. So, I mean, it's kind of people have differences of opinion if it's good or bad. If it's going for them, it's not working for others. But I got to say, I actually enjoy what we're seeing with the new next-gen car. The racing's been phenomenal. Think of the finishes we saw. I shared something on my NASCAR social the other day of, the 3 exciting finishes were almost less than thousandths of a second. You think of the closest finish in NASCAR at Kansas, of course, where Kyle Larson won. I was in the broadcast booth at Atlanta whenever they had that crazy race as well, and that crazy 3-wide, and so many other cool things that have gone this year. It's been a fun season, and I think that we're going to see what happens in 2025. Biggest thing I think they must work on, Baron, is the short track package.
Well, the short track package is difficult because they've got a great car. The tracks are just too damn tight for some of them. And
Oh yeah.
make a long story short, I like it as well, Wesley. I enjoy the racing that they're doing now. The car itself I think it's a success. I think from a financial standpoint, I also think it's a success for product on the track. But there's always going to be a purist out there that says, "Well, that's not that they all look the same and they don't have any brand loyalties, and that's just not my NASCAR."
You say purist, I say old man. I'm an old man. I always want the old stuff. But there's only one thing that is always certain. That change is coming. It's always going to be about change. We're in a different world, a different time, and I'm loving it. I'm loving this action here with RGR Racing, the East Coast Web Printers Series, the Gen 6 Series. Awesome race so far. Clean and green through 24 laps. They're going to start their pit stops anytime now. I would say the pit window is open as Edward Kane takes the lead on the outside.
Let's watch them now work their way to that outside lane, as you forementioned there, Dean. As it's still going to be Edward Kane up on the top shelf. He's going to have Derek Whitford in tow to the outside lane. Jackson, Hunt, Sheffield. They're shuffling the dice on the super stretch as they work into 3 now, Baron.
Edward Kane finally got his lead, and he's got out front on the high side. And Dean, if they stay up there, can the inside line come back?
Well, they can. I really don't know what happened to them. They're very disorganized. I don't think anybody's interested at this point, except for that outside group. 6 cars starting to string together. They're trying to get up here and maybe just take over this whole thing and get themselves down to the inside for pit stops. I'm not sure, but they seem to like it up there, Wesley.
They actually really do like it there on the high side, as you mentioned. Is again, we saw at the moment when the race started how strong Rachel's Hunt machine was. Now they're kind of falling back. We're seeing new takers come to the front. Here comes Derek Whitford. Whitford. Here comes Jason Jackson. All these other drivers, new names starting to climb, Baron, in the top 3.
Yeah, talk about Brandon Sheffield, net 36. We've seen him have a lot of success in trucks and Xfinity cars. Tonight might be his night, Dean, as he's helping to push that Jackson machine up to the front.
Yeah, it may be. I mean, Sheffield, a heck of a driver. As he gets a little loose there, maybe too much of a push. Unbelievable there, a little wiggle from him. But what I have noticed is connection issues. Something that is only here in sim racing. You got computers, you got connections. So he was having a bit of an issue there, blinking in and out, but it seems to have straightened out as now the lap car of Michael Taylor is going to get passed by the field. This is a bit of a hold your breath moment.
It's a little shake, rattle, and roll for just a moment as you see these guys working their way back up the racetrack into turn number 3 and 4. And here comes the shuffle of the deck. We're 3 wide. Outside lane, the 35 hung out to dry. He'll go from the middle of the pack now all the way to the back where the B-Dub car might be. All this happens again as still the man of the 21 leads them in 3 and 4.
Still maintaining that mid-line to that high line, too, Dean. He doesn't want to go back downstairs, does he?
No, he doesn't. They're liking it up there. I'm not sure what this is about, but him and Whitford have been up here for quite some time. The whole line has. They're not moving at all. I love it. And I love Edward Kane, one of our sponsors here in this series.
Yeah, we're kind of watching them again, guys, work their way back down the back stretch, heading into that 3rd turn, and everyone now starting to get into position. Okay, so we're closing in on about 30 laps in this race, Baron. When do you think the pit window is going to open up the green flag pit stops? Because it looks like we're setting a pace right now. 23 minutes into this race so far. No issues whatsoever. You got to think they got to start preparing to come for pit road in a few laps.
Yes, naturally. They're going to start talking to their teammates, talking to their spotters, finding out who they're working with. Honestly, I'm always a fan of pitting early. So if you've got your dancing partners with you, come on down and get that fuel early. Get out in front before the mayhem starts, because sometimes you'll bring down 20 of the 28 cars and mayhem ensues on pit row.
You see Sheffield going to the back now because I think those connection issues are scaring people. He's been waved to the back. So he'll have to regroup, hope that thing sorts itself out. But Edward Kane, your race leader here on lap 29, pit stops are imminent.
Yeah, it's like we mentioned, it's literally on the horizon. It's not a matter of if, it's when, kind of like we talked about the big one. It's going to be any moment now. These drivers starting to peel onto the pit lane. We haven't seen it yet right now. Edward Kane leading the way. Derek Whitford second. Jason Jackson third. Rachel Hunt, who led a good portion of the start of the race, now back to fourth. Nick Barris now back to fifth. Reiner, Kulkowski, Brantley, Helm, Williams, top 10. They're up the bank again in two there, Baron.
Side-by-side racing, we see a little checkup there by the Bulldog as the 88 machine of Paul K. Travis goes outside. And Dean, we got somebody in the apron.
Yeah, a little scary there, this checkup. Everybody moving around trying to avoid this thing. Not sure what was going on there, but a little scary for some of the people as pit stops are coming. I just keep waiting and waiting. I think I'll keep waiting. And here we go. Claus Williams heads to pit road, and he does it alone.
Well, he's got one partner coming down
That's
with him.
Rogers, TJ Rogers with him.
Yeah, and TJ not getting onto pit road in the exact time he needed to, so they're going to be hard to get linked up there, Dean.
Yeah, they're in tough shape here. It can be done, but they need the other groups to pit pretty much immediately so it all cycles together.
And by the way, gentlemen, as we watch those two machines of Williams and Rogers finally exit off the racetrack, you see they're going to be about a half track or more, the deficit. And Baron, when you're by yourself with one or two cars, it is a lot more disastrously to possibly get ran down by the fast pack and go a lap down when you don't have a pack of maybe 10, 12 or more right there with you. So I think that's something we're also going to have to watch. Right now, nobody shows signs of stopping as they work through the tribal.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Wesley, and it is such a lonely feeling when you're out there turning laps that are 2 seconds slower than the field, knowing that these hounds are going to come calling on you here in a few laps or so.
We had a little group of cars back there led by Rincon, actually A-Bear in the front of that group. They've kind of fallen off a little bit. There's two other cars in front. They might help them tow back up, but this is a bad time to be losing the main group.
Or by design, right, Dean? If they're thinking of pitting together, they want to be out of the way.
Well, maybe. But my thing is, I always like to get as tight as possible when I'm coming into pit. I don't want to lose any time, so I'm a little surprised. They're falling off. There's no doubt about it right now.
Right now, it is the opportunity to see something different we haven't seen yet, and that's the different packs of traffic. Look at how they all started to get separated from each other now. There you see, of course, the 52 leading another pack of cars. That's the driver, Lance Ripka, his Toyota in 17th. And then you saw, of course, Edward Kane in the 21. And that really also separates things as well. Here's a deal that might be happening, though, Baron. They're separating and getting away from each other because that might be the pack of drivers that are a part of their team. And they're going to commit to come to pit lane here. They don't want to be in a big pack of traffic when they drop down onto the pit lane, hitting the tribal.
Absolutely correct there. And you're going to see these cars as they're planning on their pit stops. Everybody's getting down to the inside line. So you're going to see groups go down, and they're going to start working to pair each other up, and then those pit stops start happening.
Lap 33 of 90, I gotta say, I'm surprised / not surprised that they have not come in. They do like the long pit here, but gas, according to my numbers, they only have 3 to 5 laps left on fuel, so, they've got to be coming in shortly.
Right now, Edward Kane, still the man that holds on to the spot. You look at him on the bottom of the racetrack. He's got, of course, the driver in that 51 in second. That's, of course, watching Jorge Leal. I believe it's George Leal, maybe, right there.
Yeah, George Leal, yes.
Black Rifle company car right there. And there's, you see, the more that lap traffic. I think that was Claus Williams, Dean, that just got put a lap down. You see what we were talking about when you're all by yourself. Here comes another lonesome man coming down pit road. This is Bryce Rayner. Saw how good he was at the start of the race. Now he is going to probably have the same fate like Williams and Rogers also.
Yeah, surprising. The one thing is, these guys are all going to be forced to pit at the same time now, so it's going to get congested. It's going to get messy. So maybe Reiner and others thought, hey, I'm going to avoid that. I'll pit alone. You guys go with the mayhem.
Want to shout out to all the folks watching us on YouTube here on Wind Tunnel TV. Friends and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us out here. We love your participation. Pit stops are happening here, Dean. Pit stops are happening.
Absolutely. People coming in right now. That looked like Kane. It is Kane. So Kane leads them in. And there's a couple guys squealing the tires. Could be speeding. I don't know. Whitford's in. Tyler, Jackson, Baris, Sheffield, Rincon, Gilly, all on pit road. We go back up front. George Leal has taken over the race lead now. This whole group likely to come in this time. We're going to go with the Bulldog, and we're going to go on board and see if we can't catch some pit stops.
When we start seeing these guys start to get to the bottom of the racetrack and they start getting from 2x2, 3x3 to down single file, you got to think, Baron, any moment now they're going to drop onto the pit lane. And here comes the cavalry doing exactly what I just mimicked moments ago, calling it in motion as they work the trial of all four.
Brantley in super hot, almost gets the cone. Does he get it? Whoa, down, Dean.
I think he did. Both him and Leal a little hot, but that just means a good stop the way they got on there. It was Leal, Travis, and Brantley who came in, so Brantley gave the lead over to Brian Helm.
TJ Rogers leading this field now. He's got a pack of
leading the
cars.
group, not leading the field, Baron. He pitted earlier.
Yep, leading that group.
So very interesting here as Helm leads the field, but it's Rogers and Williams leading this group. The other group had already pitted, I think, right in front of them. It's getting a little complicated here. And they continue to run. They are not pitting here on lap 37, Wesley.
No, they are certainly not, my friend. And right now, Brian Helm is the driver of that Toyota. Here comes, though, some more drivers in the back decided to come to the pit lane in the top 10. Lance Ripka, Daniel Blau. It's James Herbert, Ricky Williams. These drivers now preparing to make pit stops. And there's that mistake we mentioned, Baron. The 78 overshot his pit box. Fred Lester loses time because of that in the furniture road machine.
Oh, he never got it straightened out. These guys are going to get their service and leave him sitting there feeling lonely and disappointed.
They certainly are. I've been there before, Baron.
Kind of like a Saturday night at the bar.
Absolutely. You know, if you're getting last call, it hasn't been a good evening. Here comes
and right
Brian
now, here
Helm
comes the 46
down
on pit road. Sorry, Dean.
Whole group of people, so teammates coming in there. Helm, Newton, and Person and Bruce all there. Dibble and Kulikowski join them. That's going to hand it over to Leal. We'll see how this thing cycles out. They got a small group. Leal, Paul K. Travis, and Brantley here in a 3-car pack.
It is George Leal in now the top spot when everyone else gets ran back down to the front pack because the top 6 on pit road right now. Person, Helm, Bruce, Newton, Dibby, Kulkowski, all in the pits, Baron, as they begin to exit. It is now George Leal looking for green in the 51 as he has already made a pit stop earlier.
Here they come, this 3-car pack trying to chase him down. Bruce leading out the other group. Bruce still ahead of them. There he is, but he's alone. So that's Kane going by. I'm not sure Kane's in a bit of a trouble here right now. Here comes Leal and the boys. So this whole pack's going to accordion apart, and then they're going to concertina back together.
Big word, school word from Dean Doucette. And what we're talking about here is the 51 machine's going to swallow up Darren Bruce. Can he stay in touch with those cars?
You see the Bulldog in trouble there, Wesley.
Yeah, we certainly do. Adam Newton really shuffled out of line as you see him losing ground to the pack as everybody flies by him. It's now going to be George Leal, as I mentioned, going to be the new man up in front as he literally easily flew by Darren Bruce like a thief in the night. Honestly, just a sitting duck as we watch these cars. New tires, fresh fuel, ready to go to the finish here. And you see how fast it is when you got a new set of 4 freshies on the car there, Aaron.
Yeah, great stuff too. Like these pit stops were handled brilliantly, and we got the field shuffled up. It's what we wanted. Now can we see the cast of characters come from the back to the front like they did at the start of the event?
Yeah, you're definitely going to see a lot of these people come back together. However, we do have some problems. Ripka and the boys, they're going to catch up. We got another group. Rachel Hunt has fallen 2 seconds off the second group. So Hunt, Rogers, Williams, and Tyler, they've got a ton of work to do. I mean, they have got to push with all their might.
It is right now the number one, Rachel Hunt, who dominated the start of the race for the most part. You see that driver falling back to 17th position. It's now George Leal, Black Rifle Coffee Company entry. Say that 3 times fast with Paul Travis in tow. Brantley, Darren Bruce, these guys all now the new top 5 as they work into 3.
Paul K. Travis sitting right there in second, rocking that East Coast Web Printers machine. I always love the title sponsors on the cars. Brantley there as the groups start to come back together.
Yeah, we're going to eventually get a pack together. If that backpack does not get themselves organized, they could lose that front pack. That's going to really affect how this race plays out.
Well, you see here on board with Lance Buckshot Ripka as he and this group try to chase him down. They're now 2.68 seconds behind. They're going to have to really do some good work to catch up.
The back straightaway right now. We watch these drivers work into the corner into turn number 3 and 4. Look at now, driver George Leal up in front. Paul Travis right there behind him in that second position. Jason Brantley patiently back to third, all single file, bottom of the racetrack. As here comes another driver. Looks like he's coming out of the pit lane. It's Brandon Sheffield, the 36. He now makes another pit stop. This is his second of the race now, Baron.
That could spell trouble for Brandon as he is gotten into pit road again for the second time off schedule. He cannot make it from here, Dean. What do you think is going on with the 36?
Yeah, that had to be a penalty on pit road. He probably waited a lap or two. So I don't know what for, but he thought, probably thinking about it, or maybe his connection's too bad. I really don't know. But Sheffield in a world of hurt right now. Right now, Jason Jackson will be our points leader because of Jeff Ward no longer here. So Jason Jackson out front with Parise in second, Leal, Travis, Whitford, your top 5. Brantley, Bruce, Newton, Reiner, and Ripka in the top 10. Ripka is off the pack. They are closing. They've got it down to 2.5 seconds. Doing a nice job back here.
And we are watching them, Dean, make that going on forthcoming as now we're watching the 52. This is the Spartan Racing entry. Lance Ripka start to get some speed going to try to run down the front runners. There they are, right there, single file. Not side by side, single file, all using nose to tail speed to try to run down that pack, Baron, in 3.
Yeah, I like what Abear's doing here with Buckshot. He's really leaning on him. He's got to get some help from that machine behind him. Dibble's car. Is it Dibble behind him in the camel machine?
It is Williams, Ricky Williams here in the 10 machine, the third in line.
I'd like to see Williams just stay a little closer to that 25, help him push that 52 to the front, and helps make that push a little more effective when you got 3 guys all thinking in the same direction.
And guys, we're coming to the halfway mark here, coming up next time by here, Dean. This race has really flew by, only 37 minutes under green flag conditions, and you've literally already completed 45 laps of this race here.
Well, Bruce with a shot to the Bulldog there. A little checkup. 2 pros not wrecking. Boy, oh boy, that was a bit of a shot. And you can see how far Bruce has fallen off after that.
Yeah, it was a pucker moment for sure. It looks like there was a little checkup in front of the 2 machine, and Darren's just trying to help out a driver here, and they almost got into a bad spot.
You see Kane leading this pack, but Kane on the tail end of the lead lap. It's Jason Jackson out front. So Kane trying to keep that lap under his belt here. He's got lots of help as long as he still needs a caution. Wesley, this is not the league. They don't wreck here. I mean, it's very, very few and far between. What's he got to do here?
Well, they do wreck here, Dean. That's the question. It's just a matter of not happening yet. And the patience of all the drivers, if they can keep it besides going out the window. It's Jackson now, Parise and Whitford, the new top 3 podium. They thunder off the corner now. There you see the 21, by the way. Watching this guy now get ready to go, I think, a lap down because he's all the way shuffled in the back. What Edward Kane had earlier in the race, he was the Pied Piper. Now he falls back. Literally, new names, Baron, up in the top spot now as we're heading into lap number 50 of the race.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Darren Bruce for just a second. Darren was relatively quiet in the first half of the race. Pit stops have happened, and Darren, a very accomplished driver here in that 15 machine, hunting the front of the field. That's a very dangerous thing for the rest of the field, Dean.
Yeah, and you know how he did it? Same as we see a lot. I mean, he's a great race car driver. He might win from the pole on nights, but other nights, his pit stops are almost always better. You've seen him pull into pits with, say, 5-6 cars. He beat them all off of pit road by 10, 20 car lengths. He got into the main pack, but for whatever reason, this inside lane is not moving. We've seen that early in the race, Wesley. The outside guys were not coming down. They said, no, we'll stay up here, thanks. And I think we're learning why, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we are. We certainly are. Right now, we're seeing new names start to pop up here in the front of the top 10. And that will also obviously give us an opportunity to watch and see what these guys can do. Jason Jackson, as I just mentioned, up 21 spots. He's now the new leader. But look at now Lance Ripka in the top 10. Here's another driver that's getting right there in that pack that we mentioned, Aaron. Right now, single file. This group, they stay in line. They're trying to slowly but surely catch up to the back of those guys. And I do see them in the rearview mirror as they work back into the corner.
Yeah, looking at Rachel Hunt, she's trying to do the same thing with her pack. She's trying to stay in front of, or stay in touch with that pack that's in front of her. So the more help she gets from that 72 machine, the closer they are getting to that second pack. But Dean, I want to touch on the high line a little bit. These cars like to stay spun up, and if you're on the high side, you got a little more room to work there. That yellow line is almost like an invisible barrier for these guys. So if you're on the high side, you got a little bit of room up on the high side to work. You got a little bit of room below you if you're not hanging too tight to that inside line. And these cars like staying spun up, meaning those RPMs stay at a higher level.
Yeah, I mean, that must be what it is. You see Bruce and Newton, the only guys down on the inside, and they're fading and fading fast. This is a single car procession on the high side. That second group of Ripka, well, they make up time, then they lose time. One thing I did notice is they've shuffled up the order here, and you got Bernard Person now third in line, so you got Hebert pushing Ripka quite well with Person in third, and now they're starting to make up time. They're coming down to 2.2 seconds. They're coming, and they're coming in a hurry.
Look at
Yeah,
that
they are
machine.
coming. Yes, they are, gentlemen. They are coming and coming fast. As we mentioned, they were literally in that single file tandem there, Baron, and now you see them starting to reel them in faster and faster and faster. And by the way, that pack that's single file, if they catch those lead 8 cars, they could possibly power their way all the way to the top spot because of that momentum that they've got right now with that shuffle on the back straightaway.
They sure could. And here's the thing I was talking about earlier. You watch that 8 machine. Watch what he's doing in that position right behind that leader of that pack. So Buckshot's right there. He's got Hebert tucked up right underneath him. Look at Bernie. Bernie's keeping that car right there at the back bumper. He's not touching the 25. He's helping that air. And that air right there is providing enough more momentum that 52 machine is catching that front pack.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Ripka now 1.6 from the tail end of the lead pack. They're definitely going to catch 1.4. I mean, it's coming down at rapid pace, Wesley.
Indefinitely rapid pace. You are seeing it happen quicker and quicker and quicker as they are working that back straightaway now here. As they are right now running down Jason Jackson, the leader, Nick Maurice, Whitford, as we mentioned, Reiner, as well as Bruce, Leal, and Newton. Behind them with Travis by himself and Brantley, Lance Ripka is on the mission. You see the pack of the leaders, but here comes everyone else also, led by the 21. That's a lap machine. There's a driver that looked really good earlier, but this pack, though, Baron, we're watching them get closer and closer to run them down as we move into the latter stages of this race.
He'll pick them up there, and then all of a sudden you're going to see these cars catch that backpack or catch the back end of that pack in a hurry. And to your point, Wesley, we could see them slingshot themselves all the way to the front with that momentum.
The question now is, will this third pack, which is now going to become the second pack, Rachel Hunt, you see Rogers giving shots to the bumper of the one machine. Can they do the same thing? They're at 3.4 seconds away.
Yeah, it looks
And we
like
watched
Buckshot's
that,
got
guys. Yes, sir, it does. And I was going to just say, boy, watch Buckshot, because he's literally going for that spot as they work their way off the back straightaway. Jason Jackson put the 87 to the lead, but look at now what's going on now as we work back into the corner. Dean Doucette, here comes the drivers of Ribka, Herbert, Person. They've reeled them in as they go into the third turn.
Yes, sir. A 9-car pack has just become a 15-car pack as the camel man of Adam Kulikowski is also there. The 45 at the back of this group, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure who that is because they're in the wrong number.
driver to be named later on, right?
Yeah, it's our ghost driver. I mean, if he wins, it's going to be interesting. So
Gentlemen,
there is Rachel Hunt.
Yeah, and Dean Aaron talked about Rachel Hunt. What a phenomenal job she did earlier in the race. One time she was right there in the opportunity to win this thing. And let us remember, she's still in the lead lap. She's back in the top 20 now, but she's, 16th. But they can climb, right? I mean, anything can happen. We could have a caution, or we could see guys possibly maybe pit again. I'm not saying that that's a possibility, but, I'm thinking 34 to 38 laps was the pit window, gentlemen. I'm trying to count in my head. I don't think, Baron, that they're going to be able to go the distance of this race. If they do, it's going to be tight. But I think that if we see pit rows, or if we see guys pitting, it's going to be around lap number 70 or 75 for the finish.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's one more pit stop in our future. It's just a matter of when. And to Dean's point at the beginning of the show, like, what's that fuel amount going to mean to me, right? Dean said 8 seconds. Is that still the number, or do you think we've skewed it a bit?
Well, the number is, so when you talk about pit stops, speed on pit road, and less fuel being more speed on the track, 8.6 gallons is one tank of gas, one can of gas, if you will, on pit road. Anything more than that, they'll have to bring out the second can. So these guys, if they can use enough fuel, and I think that's what they're thinking. I think that's why they went long on run 1. You'll see them go long on run 2, over lap 70, and then that'll allow them to get that one can in, a quick pit stop, no tires, less than 8 seconds on pit road. That's what you got to do. No tires. Anybody who takes tires is going to be dead in the water. As someone going down the middle, that looks like maybe Bernard Person in the middle there as he gets back in line.
And green flag pit stops, got a feeling they're going to happen. We are watching now Bryce Rayner lead the way. And that number 14, here comes that pack of the other drivers that we mentioned earlier.
And they're pitting early. Rachel Hunt has come in. Claus Williams, TJ Rogers, George Rincon, all on pit road. What a move. I love this move by these guys. They say we can't catch them. Maybe we get in early, we get hooked up, and we see if we can't do some flyers out here.
And Dean, this is what you call the undercut, right? I mean, you're, like you said, you're kind of out of the game, but you're not really out of the game. Maybe the strategy of coming out of the pit lane, taking on 4 tires and fuel, maybe making yourself a little bit faster. And Baron, just in case the caution does come out, you were in a different sequence of everyone else. You could stay out and possibly pull an upset.
Yes, and we know statistically we're going to get a caution here. It's just a matter of when. And have these guys made enough ground in pit road and together on the track that they could actually find themselves out in front? Wait and see, folks.
Rachel Hunt coming off pit road all alone. That is trouble. That is not what she wanted, my goodness. But she's got some cars here. She might be able to join in. But boy, oh boy, what happened to the rest of them? She absolutely demolished Rogers and Claus Williams. Either she didn't get enough fuel or they made a mistake, but she demolished them on pit road. Here comes the lead pack as well. And now Bryce Reiner back to the front with Bruce behind him. The low side as they come up on some people on the tail end of the lead lap. These are the three that were just on pit road with Rachel Hunt. They did not have a good stop. They are going to go a lap down.
No, sometimes that undercut can sometimes make it even more of a disaster for yourself, as right now it is still the leader inside the green machine. Bryce Reiner battling now. Rogers up on the outside, already a lap down, the 72, the 21 on the tail end of Edward Kane, and we're 3 by 3 now, Baron, as we head into turn number 3.
Business has picked up here, boys, because 3 by 3 is great unless you're in that car.
Well, how about Ripka? Buckshot Ripka worked all his way to get caught up. Now he finds himself in the meat in the sandwich here. My goodness.
Good times at Talladega here halfway through the event. This is great racing.
It really is. It's been phenomenal racing. Big shout out to all of these drivers, the lady and men out here, really being patient, really taking their time, methodically working through the pack, working through the green flag pit stop, going through these scenarios. And now we're ready to kind of see what happens here as we're closing in on the home stretch, right? We're working lap 60 when they come to the line, and it'll be 30 laps to go already at the home stretch of this racing.
So
Look at
poor
the
Rachel
speed
Hunt
difference.
beat all these people off of pit road. They're 4 wide. Rachel Hunt squeezed to the wall. A little rub. She keeps it under control. Holy cow.
A good hands driver award right there.
Wow.
Big,
3 wide.
big
They
driver.
passed Rachel Hunt to put her a lap down. Like I said, she did all that work to get out of pit road first, and all the guys she came in with just went by her. It's so unfair, Wesley.
It was, and here's the ingredients of having a lap machine up in the way. Claus Williams was there. She was up in that pack as well with the fast traffic, and obviously you stack them up 3, 4 wide. 4 wide, as I mentioned, it's chaos, and that's exactly what we saw take place. And again, though, Baron, great job by Rachel Hunt, Claus Williams, all these guys. I know she's fallen back, but that could have been a part of a caution right there.
Yeah, and especially she got a little wobbly there as they were going by. That's that air turbulence we talked about before. She just brushed the wall. Car's fine, but she lost a lot of momentum.
Heartbreaking for her. She was so good early on. Pit road, often the decider in these races. It was not her friend. That choice to come on to pit road early could be costly. Race is not over, though, but it's Reiner, Bruce, Newton, Person, Jackson, your top 5. They're all lined up on the inside lane. We've seen the outside lane, Wesley. Now we're seeing the inside lane.
Yeah, that top 5 sound like a law firm right there, all in tow. Let's see how they all work their way now into the third turn. Keep your car to that double yellow line. We're seeing Bryce Reiner do exactly that, and honestly, that's exactly what you need to do, Baron. Is we're seeing, of course, Bruce, Newton, all of them right there to the inside. They don't try to go to the top if they can't help it.
No, and Paul K. Travis in that mix as well. There's Jason Brantley. I love seeing what I'm seeing here tonight. Different guys coming to the front, and there's that 8 machine, Dean. He's back in there.
He is. So you see him just to the left of us here, that 8 peeking out the Budweiser machine, and you can see now the lead pack catching up to another pack. I believe that's head up by Edward Kane. You see him up here. Well, we'll have to find out who that group is, actually. I think the Toad Man in that group, so there he is. And here comes the lead pack.
And you know, you got to think too, guys, pit lane is about to become a busy place for the second time unless we get a yellow flag for green flag conditions. Right now we're watching these guys coming down to the pit lane. They're going to be making service. They're going to be having to make adjustments. All of this is going to be decided here. And if it's under green flag conditions, Baron, it has got to be done quickly as the leaders go back into turn 1.
Yeah, we've seen it go right and we've seen it go wrong. Rachel Hunt, an example of that. If your guys don't get on with you in the same manner under the same strategy, boy, it's a lonely feeling out there by yourself.
Well, look at this. So Person leading that inside row, they're going to have no choice but to go down the middle. They're going to do it. Wow, followed by George Leal there. This is getting intense as those guys going a lap down force them to the middle. Jackson trying to go to the middle, trying to stay half on the high side. He commits to the middle lane. Now Baris takes up the 3 wide.
Yeah, what do we talk about it? Monkey see, monkey do. As we near the end of this race, here come the field off of turn number 4 through the Geico restart zone, down to the start-finish line, and we are already getting antsy again. Lead lap cars, lap down cars, cars in the back, cars trying to run down the front pack. We're getting 3 and 4 wide now as we near the home stretch, Baron, in 2.
Yeah, we'll start to see the business pick up even a little further here as we close in on 20 to go here. It is going to be one of those things. Dean, lap cars, not lap cars, 3 wide, 4 wide. I'm in for it. I'm here for it. Let's do this.
Let's do this for sure. Guys, you know, they're a lap down. They're racing hard for that lucky dog. You have to. You know there'll be a wreck. It's just a matter of will it be on the last lap or not. If it's on the last lap, we'll race to the green flag. If it's not, we'll have a green-white checker. So there's definitely going to be one. Sometimes it's not till the start-finish line. Well, I say the finish line, actually.
65 laps down, 25 remaining. Reiner in the lead, but for how long? Darren Bruce has been playing possum all night right there since that shuffled pack got to the front. Adam Newton, we know why they call him the Bulldog. Snarling, growling, ready to break that chain and go after the front pack when it happens. Jackson Person right there in line as well as they thunder into 3.
Ripka on the high side now has TJ Rogers up there. TJ a lap down, but he could help. So Ripka looking to start 3 wide action here, get that line going. But it's all single file up front with Reiner leading the way. Remember, Reiner was the one pushing Hunt early on in the race.
And Reiner's managed to parlay that push into a solid first place position right now, Dean, with 16 cars on the lead lap. You know, we've got the pack together, don't we?
We got the pack together, but at the back, they're really fighting each other, and they look very disorganized back here. Nobody really touching each other, no pushing, so they got to watch themselves here. They don't want to fall off this pack. We're on 24 to go.
We are at the home stretch of this one. Watching them now work their way again into the corner. Look at them all staying in line, though. This is the perfect thing to do, though, Baron, as they shuffle off turn 4. Everybody getting single file. Are they getting in single file because they know green flag pit stops are coming up in a moment? Or are they getting in single file because they're trying to find their wingman to catch up to then shuffle and try to push to the front?
The answer to that question, Wesley, is D, all of the above. They were just waiting for the first driver to actually come down pit road, and then monkey see, monkey do, like you said. Except if you're in the back of that field, Dean, there are going to be decisions made based on what happens in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, the decisions are not easy ones, and maybe not good ones either. They got a lot of tough calls to make back here. They got to make a move. I'm expecting somebody to come in. I mean, let's check our pit board here. Last pit stop somewhere in the neighborhood of lap 35. So, yeah, pit stops are imminent at this point. And here you go. Lester's in a gold group's in, and you see him smoking. Oh, a little high. The 35 is around. The 25 A-Bear comes down and gets buckshot. And, the 35 still wrecking. Big trouble on pit road.
But this will not draw a caution. This happened in the entrance of coming to a controlled pit stop, if you will, Baron. Tough break for these guys. They're going to lose valuable time and track position as they are still trying to get to their pit boxes. The leader is already on the back stretch going to 3.
Tempered aggression is what was just seen there, and we saw some guys overcook it a little bit, cause some other competitors to have some issues. Got a tall order for these guys now if they want to win this event.
Bruce being held on pit road, so a penalty for Darren Bruce. That's not good. We got a few more coming in. Bryce Reiner, our leader, coming onto pit road.
So green flag pit stops are happening now as we hit to the home stretch of this race. Watching now these other guys and the front runners come down pit road. We saw what a good run these guys had whenever we saw the breakup of the first pit stops. Now we got to see what they can happen here now is Reiner, that's actually Bruce, Tyler, Ripka, Herbert. They're all coming down pit road, and the new leader is Jason Jackson, Dean, on the back straightaway.
Yeah, Jason Jackson, our points leader, or de facto points leader, out in front right now. Expect these guys in. Let's go on board here if we can. Try and find, we're going to stay on this view here, and you can see here comes Whitford behind a few others. Jackson is one of them.
Kane.
Yeah, Kane is in, Burries, Jackson, Whitford, Kulikowski, and the 7 machine. That should be the 7. He's in the 45. That's Kulikowski. Now Brantley's your new leader with Leal, Williams, Travis, and Dibble in this group.
So green flag pit stops, they're happening right now. The question is, who will shuffle the deck and roll the dice? Do you still try to find that momentum at the end of these green flag pit stops? It's all out the window. I think it's a gutter war to the finish with 20 to go down. Baron in 3.
So disorganized chaos is what we're looking at here, folks. These guys are trying to find their dancing partner for the last 20 laps of the event. Shout out to our YouTube friends, Brandon Sheffield, talking to us on this. We got more pit stops here, Dean, and more off the track action.
Yeah, Brantley slipped under the cone but touched the grass. I'm not sure. I don't think that's a penalty. Paul K comes in. Ricky Williams in the camo machine all alone in the lead. Dibble in second. He's got the Toad Man behind him. He is a lap down, though, so I'm not sure about that. Then you cycle back to this group. Newton, Person, and Helm. 3 teammates hooked up and looking to do something.
And trying to make something happen, if you will, as well. But you know the old cliche, gentlemen, it's in real life. It is in iRacing, Baron. To first win the race, you must first finish. You have to be thinking about that strategy now as you're under 20 to go, and we're seeing more slow traffic on the bottom of the apron. Remember, there's the blend line, that blue cone right till they get to the back stretch. They can't pull onto the racetrack and get back into race mode until they commit to it. Here comes more cars now working to the inside. I think these guys might be looking to come back to pit or get back up to speed. We're ready to see what happens to the end of this one.
Right now, you got Williams and Dibble out on the track. The rest have pitted, and that's going to be your lead group once everybody pits. These 3 cars, can they hold off this group? You got Paul K and Leal, and then you got Jackson in a group of cars here with Burries and Kulikowski, I think. Nope, Kulikowski not in that group. He's in another group.
So this group right here is the lead group right now. Are you feeling lucky, Wesley? Do you think they can make it?
I just don't see how they can make it. They're going to try to roll the dice. I think they're actually thinking that they're going to see the Banana Republic flag come out, and in case you don't know what color that is, it's yellow. And I think that's what they're hoping to see take place, but I don't know if these guys can possibly roll the dice and go to the finish of this race. It's going to be very, very highly unlikely. I really don't think they could. I really don't.
One thing they can do is get a little airtime here. You got George Dibble in that McDonald's machine. That always makes me hungry. And then you got the Toad Man here in the 19 machine. You know what that makes me? I mean, he's got that blown glass there, the old Puff Puff Pass machine. You can get a little McDonald's and then a little Kailu glass.
Yeah.
Pour yourself another one, Dean. You are spot on.
Here comes at least 1 or 2 of them. Put the other guy by himself. They almost wreck entering pit road, Brad. Oh, my goodness, Dean.
Crazy. 2 guys alone coming in, and they rub each other. The madness of it all. So now Bruce has joined this group. He's a lap down. Helm is also a lap down. He's in this group, and Rachel Hunt a lap down. So it's a 5-car pack. 2 guys, Newton and Person, leading the race, but they got 3 lappers up here helping them. Well, actually, George Dibble in the McDonald's machine, he's still leading, but he is absolutely crawling off of pit road here, trying to get that thing up to speed.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to last for long, though. Nope. I think he's about to be overtaken by the faster traffic any moment now as here comes the field going after those cars as, again, right now, down to the end of it. We realize that they couldn't go to the finish right now. Pit window between 67 to 68, with the exception of the other guys that came down to the pit lane around the 55, 56 mark. And right now, they're not really being able to do anything, Baron. They're still hung back in the top 10. They're in the top 10. They're on the lead lap, but they just didn't get that ump from the undercut to try to get it in their favor, as right now Adam Newton is the leader as they come to the line.
Has Adam Newton made the race-winning move? That's the question.
I mean, the other question is the Bulldog now becoming the super speedway master. I mean, we've seen him do this several times on super speedways, and you've seen it even in other races, Wesley, in other leagues.
I have. Me and you actually called some NASCAR broadcasts together or last year, as a matter of fact, because it is 2025, ironically, just starting. But, you know, we've seen it in NASCAR, we've seen it in trucks, we've seen it in Cup, I've seen it in Xfinity. This guy is a talent when it comes to the super speedways. When you race Daytona, Talladega, or even Atlanta, don't forget to put your chips on the deck for the man here in the number 2. Adam Newton knows what he's doing, and obviously he is trying to put himself bearing in the catbird lead again with under 15 to go now to win at Talladega here at this 225-miler.
Another complication, just to throw a monkey wrench into that, those are 2 teammates behind him as well. So now we've got 3 Screaming Eagle cars all out front. Is it co-opetition here, Dean? What do you think?
Well, it is. I mean, Darren Bruce effectively not in third, but he is a teammate, and he's a heck of a driver, and he's going to help as Claus Williams heads to pit road for unknown reasons. So the 16 on pit road, but these 2, they pretty much got this thing sewn up. I mean, if they don't make mistakes, 14 laps remaining, they're going to be racing it out between the 2 of them, and Bruce might have to pick who he's going to help to win this thing. That'll be crazy. The other group, led by Paul Kay, has got George Leal and Jason Jackson in that group. They're trying desperately, now 3.6 seconds behind our leaders.
I'd hate to be in that 15 machine when the drivers' meeting happens on Monday, Dean.
Well, if he picks wrong, right? You got to pick me.
Me and you kind of follow the same sentiments there, Barry. And again, as we watch him again put another lap on the board, it's pucker time, right? You hear the guys say that right there at liftoff in the movie Armageddon. It's pucker time. It's time to get these guys in line. It's time to see what happens here in this race right now. 12 laps to go. It is still Adam Newton, the Bulldog, in the top spot. Bernard Person, Paul Travis, George Leal. And there you see now drivers like the 21. He's back in 20th position, or the top 20s in 18th. Edward Kane, last car, lead lap. Leaders are trying to run him down as they work their way to the tribal, coming to the strike.
Crazy how a Talladega race can go from good to bad for you in a heartbeat, right? Edward Kane leading laps at the beginning of the race. Edward Kane now the last car on the lead lap, just trying to stay in touch.
Yeah, he's part of this pack. He's trying to do everything he can to help. There's a few cars ahead of them. That includes Rachel Hunt in that group, and they're going to get a draft off of that group, so that could help them. I mean, assuming this group slows up a little bit to help them. I mean, it's a tricky situation right now. It's going to be Newton and Person settling this. 12 to go, 11 to go at the line in the ECWP Talladega 225.
All in tow, but for how long? Single file, nose to tail, bottom of the racetrack. It is Adam Newton in the orange Bulldog machine, showing that Home Depot Toyota the top spot. Here comes the Budweiser colors of Bernard Person. Dean, this is a driver that we know as well for Screaming Eagle. He struggled in the past, right? Bernard Person had to find his rhythm. He had to find his talent. But he looks like he's really excelled here now in the super speedway level. He's hanging right there with his teammates, and we're right now seeing that happen right there as they work in 3 with Travis in tow.
Well, just to be truthful, the only struggling he's ever done is getting wrecked to both the 8 machine, a heck of a race car. All 3 of these guys in this group, they are not to be trifled with. It's just a matter of there's other good drivers out here, and they're in this group. Paul Kay, George Leal, Kane, Jason Jackson, your points leader. There's a 93 machine right there. I mean, this group has got to do something, or they're all racing for 3rd place. There's a 3rd group, too. That's with Dibble in them. They are a ways back. Maybe there's another one. I mean, there's little groups all over the track here.
Dean, the pay window's open.
Under 10 to go, Baron. Under 10 to go, my friend.
Yep, pay window's open. Like you said, it's pucker time. These front 3 cars, time to start making decisions. I saw Bernie actually airing his car out a little bit, right? Like he's starting to cool his engine because he knows he's going to end up pushing here.
Yeah, and there's just no need. I mean, they got a 3.7-second lead. The only thing they could do wrong is wreck each other. And I mean, what do you think, Wesley? If you're Darren Bruce, you're a lap down. I mean, my goodness, you want to help and everything, but if you help too much and cause a wreck, boy, oh boy, you said earlier, like, you don't want to be that man in the garage. I mean, I wouldn't even go to the garage.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat that you're in as well, dude. Watch yourself. See what happens as we get these guys back in tow, back in line one more time. Adam Newton leading the way. Here he comes out of the line, but our person will follow. And working single digits now. It is now 9. It is 8 to go when they come to the stripe. Got to get yourself in position if you're one of these guys. These three, Baron, might decide it all here at Talladega because they're starting to pull away from everyone else.
Yeah, as everybody else tries to sort themselves out, these three teammates have got it all figured out, right? Bernie just waiting for that last lap pass. Can Darren Bruce find it in himself to help one of these drivers across the line? I'd hate to be the one with the check in the mail.
Now this second group, led by Paul K, has caught another lap group. So they're sucking up. They're making up hordes of time, down to 3.2 seconds. Can they catch up? Travis, Leal, and Jackson trying to do something. Baris in this group, but he is lingering, as is, it looks like, I'm not sure who that was. I thought that was Jackson lingering back, but they're a little disorganized at the moment, and they go 3 wide. Kane in the middle.
Here comes 3 wide. Could this be chaos looming? There's contact a little bit into the 51. That's the battle. George Lill, the 21 of Edward Kane. Remember, he's on the tail end of the lead lap. He wants to stay on the lead lap. As right now, that goes to the back straightaway.
They have stopped gaining here. Now, Newton and Person have opened up a 4.2 second lead. That's how quick things can change. They were catching them. They got bogged down by this group. Now you see Leal and Travis get out front on the low side. They try to get hooked up to make one last push. We're on 7 to go.
Is there enough time, Dean, to catch these three and settle it? It doesn't look like it by the bird's eye, does it?
Well, it doesn't, but I mean, there could be. I mean, if you really got hooked up and you made up some time, the problem is you got 3 in the best in the business leading this thing. They're not going to mess up. Look at how tightly formed they are. They're not even really pushing at their maximum, but they're maintaining or gaining. Jackson now 5 seconds back as this group continues to fade, where all the racing's going to take place, but it's going to be for 3rd place. TJ Rogers comes on to pit road.
Hell of a time to show up on pit road.
Yeah,
major
lateness. Yeah, I was just thinking about the same thing, guys. Remember, he was on a totally different sequence than anyone else in that 72. And by the way, we mentioned the 21 on the tail end, Edward Kane, fighting now a moment ago with the 51 of George Lill for 4th. That's that pack of cars we talked about, right? He is literally right there with the 4th place car because the top 3 are gone. Interval over 6 seconds now. 5 to go. There's the leaders. The lack's actually 4th on back. And Adam Newton still up in front, leading the way as they'll come to the line. They're on the back stretch. There they are right there. Top 3 cars. I feel like we lied to our audience, Dean and Baron. We said there was going to be craziness around every corner. There could be trouble. That's not a matter of if, but when. These guys are going to blow my mind if we could go caution-free in this race tonight.
Yeah,
Green-white checker is not a thing at Talladega, is it?
Wesley, and you know, something else that's not new to us is lying to the public. I mean, it's kind of what we do up here in the booth. So, Newton and Person doing a great job. Jackson and them, this is truly a battle for 3rd now, and it's going to heat up, I think. You got 3 cars, Jackson, Baris, and Leal, battling, but there are others in this group like Kulikowski, Reiner, Whitford, and Paul K. Travis. They're all going to look to make a move, and you see Paul K. slide up to the high side looking for some racing room. And if there's going to be a caution, this is where it's going to come from, this group.
And they are racing each other back here. Like, don't sleep on it, right? They're not trying to go faster. They're trying for position.
Absolutely. I mean, this is real racing. Reiner really putting the bumper to the car in front of him. That's the 45. The
Here they
unknown
come.
driver.
That's right. At the line.
It's like
3
the
to
no-name
go.
comic.
Yeah, that's true.
Hung out to dry. It's 3 wide. No, he doesn't give him any quarter there. He has to check up.
Zeus, I'm sorry. I will have to strongly disagree with you. He says, what's so cool about driving left? This takes no skill. You're dead wrong. I mean, you literally have got all these cars in tow, inside, outside. Like I said, Baron, we're seeing a different race than what Talladega normally is. And not saying that we didn't see that strategy earlier, but things are really, really different than what I thought the outcome would be. Right now, Adam Newton's race for the taking. 2 to go. Teammates behind him, a Person and Jackson. Are they going to get greedy? Are they going to try to go for a bump and run? Are they going to try to shuffle them out of line? That's the question, Baron, as we got less than 5 miles to go.
Yeah, and the 15 machine, he's just playing goalie right now, making sure everybody stays out in front of out of the net, right? He's just pushing the guy behind him. Whoever's going to lag back, he'll push them forward too.
And that's the thing. You say Newton's, he's in the pretty seat here. I don't think so. One of two things going to happen. Either Darren Bruce decides who wins by deciding who he's going to push. I mean, they could effectively stay in line. I doubt they'll do that. But I think Bruce will fade out. And then the advantage goes to Person because he's going to have that draft.
Yeah, Bernie may fade a bit to give himself room for a run. Adam will see that coming, and he will block. If he wants to win this race.
Wesley take us home here. Newton leading.
Final time around, guys. This is it as they work their way down the back stretch. It is still Adam Newton. He's got that Toyota Camry right there in tow. It is Person behind him, then Jackson. We're single file up in Louisiana. There it comes, Aaron. Never went single file. I don't think anybody's going to get a move on the Bulldog, or they're not going to be brave enough to try as they go through 4.
There he goes.
Line. There's the move.
Bernard Person to the outside. Newton trying to hang on. The aid of Bernard Person going to come on the high side and take this victory away from the Bulldog. The battle for third rages on. It's going to be Jason Jackson taking third over Baris and Leal. A little anticlimactic, but Bernard Person waited patiently, made his move, and that's right, Bruce didn't go with anybody, and poor Adam Newton, the Bulldog. I mean, he's got to love his teammate getting the win, but he just, he led all those laps, Wesley, just couldn't get her on the last lap.
Nah, and by the way, guys, you kind of saw me setting that up, right? I mean, it looked like maybe thinking nobody was going to go out of line, and then all of a sudden, bam, here comes Bernard Person. Made the right move, and let's be honest, Baron, he did it fair. He did it clean. He didn't rough him up. He didn't try to put him in the fence, push him down below the bottom of the apron. Good racing amongst teammates, and I mean, I'm so happy Bernard Person got him one.
Yeah, and it's a popular win with the drivers because Bernie's been a constant in this league for years and years. Seeing him get a W, especially at Talladega, one of his favorite tracks. This is a great night for the 8 machine. Great night for Screaming Eagle Racing, and great night for Darren Bruce, who kept his nose out of it. He let these two boys settle it the way they should have.
Absolutely. You see the Bud Machine, the king of beers, Will Bernard Person, the king of Talladega, here this evening. We're out at Cape Coral, so he's going to bring that trophy home to Cape Coral. Little celebration here on the track. Wesley, green flag action here at Talladega.
Man, it certainly was. It was so very fun watching this, man, being able to jump up here and join you guys. Thank you again for all that you do, Dean, with Wind Tunnel Racing TV, and obviously watching number 8, the Budweiser car in victory lane. Shades of what when Dale Earnhardt Jr. won 4 straight years in a row at Talladega in the early 2000s. To see the Bud 8 car back here at victory lane, and to see Bernard Person, Screaming Eagles, winning. What a moment. And guys, caution free. That is the biggest thing that blows my mind here. To finish the race, Baron, caution free, an hour and 15 minutes to run 90 laps. Just big kudos to these guys in this circuit. What a race.
It's absolutely time to buy a lottery ticket because you never see a green-white checker Talladega race. And we just saw one here from the boys at RGR. Boys and girls. I keep forgetting Rachel's in the event. So, yeah, really unusual night. Really cool racing. Talladega never, ever disappoints.
All right. Well, let's take a short commercial break. We'll come back. We'll get some race interviews in, including our winner, Mr. Bernard Person. All right, Wesley. We'll see you, buddy. We're 10-4. We'll see you, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Oh, say can
We almost playing the national anthem again. We're back at Talladega where Bernard Person took home this victory. I mean, Baron, these guys won it on pit road yet again.
They sure did, Dean, and they showed everybody what a little bit of practice and dedication can hand them, and that's a checkered flag.
Yeah, I mean, it was just awesome what they were able to accomplish here. And, the other guys, we've seen a lot of problems on pit road, and I think some of it was too many guys pitting at the same time, and it just gets congested down there, Baron.
Sure does, and sure did. And we saw pit strategy play out the way these guys wanted to. Did backfired for some of our other drivers, but a great race nonetheless. So unusual to see a green-white checker at Talladega. It's an absolute pleasure.
It really was. Let's get into our race interviews as we bring in our third place finisher, the number 87, Jason Jackson. Jason holding on to the points lead. Maybe not the place you wanted, but hey, it's a podium finish here at Dega.
Yeah, it'd been nice to finish a couple spots higher, but all things considered, it was a good night.
Yeah, it really was. So obviously tonight, green flag racing, pit road was paramount. Tell us a little bit about your experience, your strategy on pit road, and maybe what happened getting on and off pit road.
Yeah, we tried to, as a group, run as long as we possibly could the first stop, and unfortunately, Ed got busted speeding, so we kind of lost one member out of our group, even though we kind of picked him back up later as a lap car. And then Brandon started having connection issues that kind of eliminated the next one, but we did pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, well, you did excellent. Now, late in the race, you're in a pack there, and you were kind of catching up, but then you caught another group. They got stuff to race for too, and the momentum just died. Did your heart sink a little bit, saying, "There goes that"?
And not really. I mean, I kind of knew when we caught that group that it was going to kind of slow us down, unfortunately, because it's how it is on this with this car. It just pulls you slow for a few laps, and we just lost too much momentum.
Well, I thought you did an excellent job. Like I said, you take over the points lead. How are you feeling about that? I mean, is this, the season? Is this where it all comes together, Jason?
No, not really, because starting the 12th through like the 18th is the Chili Bowl in Tulsa, and I will be gone for the next race, so that'll kind of kill my whole points lead.
Well, you can't avoid the Chili Bowl, Jason, but you're going to enjoy your lead while you have it. We thought you raced a heck of a race, man. Congrats on third place, and we'll turn the mic over to you, brother.
All right, I really got to thank, like I said, Nick and Ed and Brandon and Derek. Us GDR as a group, I thought we usually do a really good job together on restrictor plates and stuff like that. And then, of course, real sponsors for Taba and Custom Works and Civil Tech and Ed Kane CPA. It's always tax season, as Brandon says. And then so there's a couple other people that I'd like to thank too, but they know who they are and stuff. But really good to have a nice top three after last Sunday, not even finishing the race.
All right, Baron. That's Jason Jackson in the 87 taking the points lead with a third place finish here this evening.
Great run by Jason. Great points defending that amazing run, and to defend your points lead at Talladega you've done something. But I'm with Adam Newton, second place finisher. Adam, good to talk to you again, my friend. Just wish you'd been one place a little higher.
No, actually, I was glad that Bernie won, and I wasn't gonna fight him for it for pushing me, and me and him and Darren gotten away from the group. I know there's you know some discussion that some drivers might be upset, but I don't know what happened behind us. I'm trying to look at it, but is what it is.
Drivers upset because they couldn't catch you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh. I've never heard that before, but so hey, second place finish. I'm at a loss for words here, Dean.
Well, it's okay, Adam. I mean, we're not upset. We seen the bulldog on the hood tonight. How'd that feel? Bringing out the old paint out of the woodworks, and you let it round. And I mean, really, it was going to come down to you and Bernie. And Bernie being in second had the draft. I mean, I know you're not, you don't begrudge him for winning, but it was his to win when he's in that position. Second place coming out of 4 is probably better than first, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I wouldn't want to fight him for it. I mean, we didn't got away. We were pulling away before, it kind of looked like some other people didn't hit the gas. I knew they kind of separated themselves from the pack from what I'm seeing in the replay. Hey, I mean, we stuck together. We pulled away even before the situation.
I don't know Anyways, hey, Adam, second place finish at Talladega. Got all the fenders on it. Who you want to thank for your event tonight?
I thank my teammates. I mean, without them, we wouldn't have got out to where we were. Great strategy call, Darren, Bernie, Fred, Tom, Brian. We missed Spear. Sorry about. I guess you could call her the mother-in-law or whatnot. He had a passing in their family, and our thoughts and prayers with them and whatnot, and hope they have safe travels back after all that. And you know, Bernie actually made this paint scheme, so I got to thank Bernie. Thank y'all for doing it in the booth. Thank RGR guys, Live Church, East Coast Printing, all the folks that put this great league together, and the admins. Thank you. Hope I don't get penalized for my comments, and thanks for the race.
Hey, congratulations, man. Second place finish. Dean, Adam Newton, just the best interview there is in the business.
Yes, sir, indeed. We're looking for another one. That's because the 8 machine is in victory lane. Maybe the most impressive bird out there. A little dog walk after, but what a race. Congratulations, Bernard Person, your winner here.
Thanks, Dean. Oh, yeah, it feels great to win. I know, I had to do it. I had to kind of like backed up a little bit to get a run. But I'll take it.
Absolutely. Now you're coming around there. It's you and Newton and Bruce. I know you're communicating as well. Darren, in the worst spot of all, he had to throw his hands up and say, "Look, guys, I'm out." I mean, is that what happened? Because if he pushed one of his, the other one might hate him.
Yeah, he said, "I'm gonna let you guys battle it out. I'm not gonna have any interference in that." But during the race, there was one time when we first pitted, I lost those guys, and I had to fight back to get up there again.
Yeah, I mean, you did talk a little bit about pit road, Bernie. I mean, I can't imagine anything what the Bulldog was talking about there, any upset. It looked like you guys just did a heck of a job. You come in and come out somewhat together. At least you two did. And luckily, Darren come in as a teammate and helped you out. I think you had a couple others at one point up there too. Tell us about those pit stops.
Well, yeah, we all pitted. I mean, entering the pit road was really good. Coming out of pit road, there was somebody on the bottom of me, and when you only take those right side tires, you can't really stay up on the track because you'll get loose in the middle of the track. So I had a lift to let, I forget who it was at that time, to go by me so I can get back down, and I just lost all that momentum to Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. You got up there though. You guys still had the lead. Were you a little bit in shock at all, Bernie? I mean, I was that you had that big a lead, about 4 seconds on the group. I mean, I was really quite surprised.
Well, what I noticed when everybody was in the pack, there was a lot of hitting going on. And when you do that, it just keeps slowing the cars up from whoever you're bumping all the way to the guys behind you. And when you have three guys that, or even four guys that really know how to push without touching one another, letting the air behind the car push the guy in front of you. I mean, we were doing like 199 almost all those laps without overheating.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen that a little bit on the old dashboard there. That Bernie, it's got to be thrilling here to get out here and get this victory. I mean, you've been out there leading a few times and had to disconnect for various reasons. Not here tonight. You end up in victory lane. Congrats, brother. And we look forward to see what you do the rest of the season, man. And anybody you want to thank, anybody you want to shout out, heck, anything you want to say, let her fly, my friend.
Well, I want to say my prayers are out to Jason Spears. His mother-in-law passed away. Hopefully everything goes well over there and safe trip back home. My teammates, all my teammates, Adam, Darren, just the rest of the guys there. You guys are always putting on a good show. It's always great going back and watching it and learning to see if you could have done something different. You guys are really good calling that stuff out. One of the best broadcasters out there, if not the best. Toad Man for putting together a great league. Everybody in here is top notch, and yeah, hopefully we have a better year this year.
All right, and I hope and wish for a better year for everybody. But right now, you started off with a bang. Bernard Person, number 8 in victory lane.
Popular win, popular guy, Bernie doing it again tonight, getting a checkered flag. Love seeing it, especially in that throwback Dale Earnhardt Jr. scheme. That was a real special win here at Talladega. And Dean, I couldn't have asked for anything more tonight. What a great night in the booth.
Yeah, great night for sure. We thank Wesley for his efforts here tonight. Of course, Baron Labosco, always a great one. And of course, every Thursday, 9:10 p.m., it's the East Coast Web Printers Gen 6 series here with RGR Racing. Hope you enjoyed this one. We're gonna wrap it up here from Talladega. For myself, Dean Doucette, for Mr. Baron Labosco. We'll see you right here next time on Wind Tunnel TV.